Greetings, YouTube Nation. So, guess what I got? That's right, this is the third unboxing in between all the the Greenberg show and the swap meet that I attended earlier this month in September. I've been wanting to open up this box for a while. Of course, work and other things have interceded, but I am overdue for opening up this box and letting the person that I bought this from on Facebook Marketplace, if not one of the buy and sell groups, I think it was a buy and sell group that I belonged to. So, let's dig in. So, what we have here is a Canadian Pacific AC4400 in the CP Rail system livery with both the American and Canadian flags. The seller told me that that it was fitted over a blue box locomotive, that the shell was fit over a blue box locomotive. The seller did whatever he could to make it presentable, and then he decided to thin his herd. But I saw it and I said, that's gorgeous. And we connected, made him an offer, and he accepted. And long story short, here she is. So there was no original box. This is how he sent it, and she's absolutely gorgeous. So let's free her from captivity so we could take ourselves a closer look. Oopie. So, here she is. She's just, I mean, a little dusty on the walkways, but we could certainly sort that out. And the stanchions and the railings appear to be all there. There's the CP. Cab number the road number over here. Yeah, it's horn hook couplers. I mean, that was this guy, that was the seller's doing, not mine, but I don't mind horn hook couplers. But either it was slightly weathered or, well, you know, is this cleanable? I might clean it just a little bit. Or it could be weathering. Either way, I'm fine. I'm delighted. The horns are there. which means I won't have to add anything. He probably weathered it. Well, I did see a run test video. It ran perfect. I can also see that some work was done down here on the axles and on the trucks. He probably used CA to hold the truck covers into place. But and it looks like we got ourselves a clean break right over here, because while this is fine, this is not. I believe I have a replacement for this, so that's fine. So I'm gonna let's get in, see if it needs any cleaning, any servicing, see what exactly is underneath the shell. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, before we get into it, I have it on the test track. Power pack is on. It's in the forward direction, and with a little power. Now that's odd. If my power pack is in the right direction, it should go forward. If I switch it this way, it means to put it into reverse. That's how it should be. That way. If it's switched that way, then it should go forward. So now I have to switch it in the reverse direction. Alright, that is a puzzlement. I don't see any light action. So I'll have to investigate that. So now we can get into it. Alright, so I'm inside. The geared towers are oriented correctly, because here's the light bracket. The elbows of the gear towers should be facing me. So the gear towers are correctly oriented. There is some oxidation here. The original motor clip is here. Here's the motor clip, but of course we'll replace that. There also is no rear light. There is and it's threaded. There's a hole right over here, and it's threaded, which means this wasn't an actual AC4400. This was another locomotive in another life. What it is exactly, I have no inkling. Could it have been an SD40-2? Could it be? I don't know. I'm going to switch angles again. So here it is on the track again. Power is still on. I'm just going to move you right over here. You're going reverse. Oh. Well, the light works, but of course we'll LED the light. That is darn peculiar. Or rather, my SD40-2, which is also another Athearn. The motor is oriented in a way that the commutator over here is here. I mean, the motor is flipped. So it looks like I'm going to have to do the same thing, but, you know, just clean everything and replace this light, of course. So hold on to your hats. All right, I've already desoldered the the wire connecting the motor clip to the light, and we're going to remove this light right over here because we're going to LED this girl, and we're gonna clean the gear towers. We're gonna clean the motor, and I'm gonna flip the motor and put some wires over here from the gear tower to the motor clip, and we're gonna LED. We're gonna put an LED over here so we see a light over here, although there is no I see no light thing here. We'll have to figure that one out. But yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so whatever idea that you heard from me about flipping the motor, where the commutator is facing towards the rear of the locomotive and the rear of the motor going towards the cab, forget what you heard. And I thought it unorthodox to just flip the gear towers so that the elbows are not facing me. They'd be facing the opposite direction. Well, that's cheating. What really needed to be done was the motor was mismagnetized. That is to say, since this was someone else's Frankenstein, look at the shell. There's supposed to be little tabs here on the shell so that when you seat the shell onto the chassis, you get that nice snap sound. It's as hearing that snap sound into a chassis where there are snap holes is as comforting as popping air bubbles and popping bubble wrap. But since the snaps are missing, and even the seller said it's someone else's Frankenstein. Well, the motor was mismagnetized. And when I say the motor was mismagnetized, it means that for an Athearn locomotive, an Athearn Blue Box locomotive, it works properly when the flywheels are spinning in the opposite counterclockwise. They are spinning away from you. If the motors are spinning clockwise, where they're spinning, or if the flywheels are spinning towards you, that means it's going in reverse. So when it's spinning clockwise, counterclockwise, spinning away from you, that means it's going forward. And because the motor was mismagnetized, the opposite was true. Where if it was spinning clockwise, it was going in the reverse direction. Spinning clockwise, it was going forward. And it only spins counterclockwise when it should be in forward and not in reverse. I hope that makes sense to you. So everything is cleaned, and the motor is clean, the commutator is clean, the gears, the gear towers. I got my little solder blobs, and I'm also going to revisit just cutting the motor clip that came with it, that fits on top of the top motor clip, and make solder globs there to connect the motor to the gear towers. But before I did all of that, I took the motor apart. And I've only had to do that, I've only done that once before. And that was with the Jeep 35. And I think I got it wrong. So I'm going to have to go back to that Jeep 35. But I carefully, I removed the top and bottom motor clips, set aside the springs, set aside the brushes, and I've had to move the flywheels along the either off the shaft or just move it further down the shaft enough that I could get right inside the motor and pull out the motor, the windings, and the commutator. Only enough so that I could flip the magnet. And then I put everything back together. And made sure everything snapped in place. I had to hold everything into place so that I could get the top motor clip back in. And if you really want to see that in detail, if you go to the Elite 194 channel, and Matt, who's the host of that channel, is a Jedi Master. And he did that with another Athearn locomotive. I forget which one that he did it with. I'm not sure if he did it with another. He might have done it with another Jeep 35, where he just had to reorient the magnet inside the motor. You might not see it, but inside is a magnet. I mean, hello, there's a magnet in here. Oop. So, I have the power. I have the leads on the positive and the negative, and it is toggled to forward. And don't be shy. We have forward and reverse motion. Although something may be going on with the flywheels. I'll have to figure out the seating or just fix the seating. But we do have forward and reverse motion. So I'm just going to fix the flywheels a bit, and then we'll get to putting wires on the gear towers and the motor clip. Be right back. Alright, so I've already got the motor clip soldered to the gear towers, and here we have forward and reverse. So right now, the next step would have been putting LED lights, and I already have the solder glob on the motor clip for that, and I could easily solder the negative connection here, and I'm not sure about this threaded screw hole. Could I use it for the negative connection, or should I just solder it to precariously to the gear tower over here? It would mean having to undo this gear worm. I could probably just put a I'll have to see if that is threaded for a 256 screw. And then I'll just solder the I'll just wire the negative connection there. But I am holding off on that because the shell is missing the lens here and over here. It would be a waste of my time and my efforts. It would be a waste of your time if I just soldered the lights on, and then just put the show back on. But there's no, it would be, where's the effect? I'd be cheating myself out of the effect, and you'd be cheated out of the effect. So I've already found someone on Dr. Evil Bay who does sell lenses for RTR locomotives, since this does appear to be an RTR shell. So I'm going to wait until that comes in the mail, and then we'll get right to it. So see you when I'll see you on the flip. All right, so off camera, I did the endurance testing, and it passed after correcting the axles for the rear truck, because the thing with these Athearn locomotives that have the nuts in between the gear and the wheel of the axle. How you place each axle into the truck, it's not as clear cut as putting an axle without the nut in between the gear and the axle, because it's just if you put the axle in a little bit too much closer towards the gear, then you come up with a wheel alignment issue, and you also risk a derailment, which was the case when I was doing the endurance testing. And it's always helpful to have one of these guys handy. It's a NMRA gauge, standards gauge, because it's very helpful to tell you if your switch points are aligned and if your axles are aligned. So this came in very handy, and I highly recommend that you get one if you don't have one already. I might get a second, because sometimes I put it down and it's like, all right, where did I put it? So now that I've corrected the axle and the headlight lens came in, so I installed that on the shell, and I also put LED lights on the cab end and on the long hood end. So as you can see, this locomotive is not on the endurance track. This is on DCCEX track B. I have to show my DCCEX track some love too. So I already have this programmed into Engine Driver, and we're gonna go, and I'm gonna show you the lights, and maybe I can get this silly stupid phone to cooperate with the zoom, and it looks like, come on, play nice. All right, there we go. So we're going speed step 28. The lights are on in speed step 32. Lights are nice. And I'm going to stop her, set her to reverse. And now I'm going to position the camera while praying at the same time that this camera does not tip over. We're in reverse mode now, so I'm going to apply speed step 20, speed step 24, speed step 28. And the lights are nice and bright. All right, so now that we have established that the lights are working, I'm going to lash her up to some cars and see how well this girl pulls. Be right back. Well, she's pulling pretty good. Speed step is at 82. And I had to set it that high because with this many cars, it needed enough oomph to pull this consist. Some of these cars are by AccuRail, and AccuRail, these AccuRail cars are pretty well weighted. And even though I tested the locomotive tested the lights of the locomotive on DCCEX track B, I have it running on A because the older racks cannot negotiate 18-inch curves, which DCCEXB has. Otherwise I'd have derailments. Believe me, I know. Well, I'm a happy camper. Glad I got this thing properly serviced, and she definitely runs and pulls like a champ. So, with that being said, I'd like to thank all of my subscribers for their continued support. If you are not a subscriber, there is a link for you in the bottom right hand corner. Please like and share. If anyone has any spare auto racks, would greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.